Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Manny Talks Shooting is proudly presented to you by D2 Custom Guns. Did you know that Phil the Groundhog isn't the only thing Puxatawny, Pennsylvania is famous for? That's right, D2 Custom Guns, the home of Dan Heizenreiter and one of the best, fabulous 2011 builders in the country. So make sure you guys go check him out, D2 Custom, anywhere you can see him on the social media, Facebook, Instagram, go check him out. If you see myself, Patches Reader, anyone with the D2 Custom Guns, make sure you go check him out, and you will thank me later. Now, let's get on to the show. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Manny Talks Shooting, the shooting podcast on the internet, because we live on the internet. We are addicted to phones. We probably play too many games on our phones, but at least now you're listening to this awesome podcast produced by me. This show is proudly presented to you by D2 Custom Guns. Guess what? You've got a chance to win a awesome blaster at the Buckeye Blast. So they'll probably be in the show notes. You can get in on that awesome raffle. It's a limited optics gun. You won't be disappointed. Go check it out. If you're listening to this in real time. If you're not, sorry, the raffle's probably long been gone, but it's okay. Without further ado, we're going to talk to a guy who has big boots to fill. This is Ryan Lee. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good. How you doing this evening, Manny?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for hitting me up and sitting down and doing a podcast. So this will be fun.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
Oh, yes. So people, you're going to get to know Ryan. I don't know Ryan at all. He hit me up and said, hey, can we do a podcast? I'm like, absolutely. We're going to make it happen. So Ryan, for myself and everybody out there, who are you and how did you get into shooting?
So my name's Ryan Lee. I'm the owner and sole employee of Empirical Concepts Training. Live in South Carolina, small town living, and I've been shooting competitively for about 5 years on and off. And I'm actually set to take over as a South Carolina section coordinator for Mr. Todd Holmes here in a couple of months. Been working with him the last few months, going over and getting this year's state match ran, which we did, and it was a huge success. Learned a lot in the process and how much work it actually takes to run a match like that.
Yeah, that's a lot right there. So you said you've in and out of the shooting of the sport in 5 years. With other responsibilities, family life, that kind of stuff. I totally get it. Coming in and out of the sport. So you said you're the owner and sole employee. So you're your own boss, but you're also the only one working of Empirical Concepts Training.
Yes.
Where'd the name come from?
So the name Empirical is actually something that. So my brother, his initials are MP, my initials are RL, and empirical. When you look at the word empirical, it's proven through practice. It's not based on conjecture or thoughts. It's been proven by being done, and that's a process that I've always taken into my training. That anybody that wants to talk to me about a concept or something that they do, that hey, this is more efficient, this is better to shoot this way or to enter or exit this way, I never take it at face value. It's something that I go put into work and I prove, yes, this is better because I've gone and done it this way and I've done it the other way, and this is empirically better. And that's the way I do my training regimen. I tell my students that, hey, I'm going to teach you a way. It's a way that I do it, that I found that works for me, but not everybody's built different. There's different body types, different mindset, different movement. So put this into practice and go and see if it works for you. And if not, let's work and find a way that does work for you.
Mm-hmm. That's a good explanation, and it's a good way of the name of your company. I'm already tongue tied. It's been a long day, but we're gonna make it through it. The tongue might stop working, but the brain might be functioning at the end. I don't know. So you said, wow, really a brain farting here, but it's okay. I'm just gonna keep talking since Robert Wyatt says bad silent noise is bad, so it's okay. So you started the training company how long ago?
Started the training company about two years ago. I was working for another training company here locally, mainly doing like CWP classes. I was also working with a few law enforcement units. I knew that I wanted to get into a little bit more of the advanced stuff and then chase more after the competitive shooting crowd. It's something I had a passion in. So I split off and started my own training company. Ended up going full-time. That was about 2.5 years ago. I went full-time, quit my corporate job very recklessly, and decided to make a run of it, training people to shoot.
Did somebody lie to you and tell you were going to make a boatload of money?
Oh no, I know. I knew for a fact I wasn't going to make a boatload. So the position I was in the corporate world, I was doing very well for myself,
Hmm.
um, and it was a hard decision to make to leave that type of financial security. But at the end of the day, I didn't have a passion for what I was doing. I was miserable every day. I hated what the corporate world was turning me into. I was leaving before dark, getting back after dark. Didn't have the family time with my kids, and I just on the mental health side of the house, I was always under so much stress and anxiety. And one day it just kind of hit me out of the blue. It's like I don't need to do this anymore. That I was scared to jump out and do it full time on my own, but I knew I had to at least take a shot. And who knows, this thing may fail at some point down the road, but I will be able to look my kids in the eye when they get older and say, hey, Daddy swung. Yeah, he struck out, but I stepped into the batter's box and I tried to make it work, and it's been an absolute blast.
Well, that's cool. And as you say, it's important to take, a lot of those corporate jobs are not made for everybody, and they do turn people into monsters, and it sucks because then you don't have any family life or time, and you always feel like you're working. But it's good that you said no. I'm going to step out on my own and do your thing. So that's kind of cool. We're gonna rewind a little bit, right? So how did you find your first match?
So at the time, I had some friends and acquaintances who were in law enforcement on a few TAC teams, and we'd always get together and train and shoot. And I always noticed that I was out shooting these guys, and I served in a marksmanship instructor role in the military, and I always noticed that I was always kind of towards the head of the pack, and got to looking around. I was like, okay, where can I really be pushed in shooting and be tested against some of the best shooters out there? And I found my way to YouTube and found some three gun content, and I thought three gun was where it was at, and I had to go do this thing. And I ended up searching around on Google. I found there was a three gun match about an hour and a half away, and I took my home defense AR-15, my EDC Glock 19, and a pump shotgun and showed up to a three gun match.
And how did that go?
It did not go well. It didn't. Luckily, the shooting community is great. I tell people this all the time that you'll meet some of the nicest people in the world. And on the very first stage, a guy looked at me. He's like, "You're not shooting that shotgun, are you?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "How many rounds do you hold?" I said, "Well, it can fit 4 in the tube." He said, "Stand by." And he went and got me a Beretta out of his truck and let me run it. But it, I got my tail kicked, and it really opened my eyes to the potential that can be had out of a firearm when it comes to terms of speed and accuracy. And it really that first match is really what kicked off my training and really pushing for improvements in the shooting sports.
Oh yeah, and as you said, this community is awesome. They're gonna laugh at you for a little bit, and then they're gonna be like, "All right, let me fix you for
Yep.
and get
Yep.
you some gear." Um, how long did you end up sticking with three gun before you moved to dedicated pistol competitions?
So I shot three gun for 3 or 4 months, and at the time the handgun was holding me back. I noticed on stages where I was losing a lot of time, losing a lot of points, were when you had to go to the handguns. So I said, I'll go shoot USPSA for a month, 2 months to make me dedicate and work on just the pistol game for a while, and then I'll come back to three gun. And so it was early in 2019. I shot my first USPSA match, and I fell in love with the scoring system, with the simplicity of it, and how far you could push the games. And once I found the hit factor scoring system, I loved it so much more than the three gun scoring system of basically putting 2 rounds on the brown.
Hmm.
Uh, so I shot USPSA for about 3 months, and then my daughter was born, and I got deployed within the same month. So I had to step away from it for a little while.
Hmm. And then by the time you came back, were you just a solely a USPSA pistol shooter, or did you? Or
Once I once I came back, I think I may have shot one more three gun match, but my heart just wasn't in it. I really wanted to get good. I'm a highly competitive person, and I just didn't have the time in the day with a young family and a career to train on the rifle, shotgun, and pistol. And like I said, I really love the scoring system USPSA. So I shot, like I said, I think one three gun and one outlaw two gun match, and after that, I just went full tilt on USPSA.
Gotcha. So you say you're a highly competitive person. Did you grow up playing a solo sport or a team sport?
Absolutely, baseball and football.
So which one would you say was your primary?
It would be football. My dad played baseball in high school, and he enjoyed baseball more. And I did enjoy playing baseball. I didn't have a passion for it. I just played it because I was good at it, and it was another sport to play in the off season. But football is something that I really did love, and I would say would be my primary.
Gotcha. So the one thing I dislike about baseball, especially from a spectator sport, is the fact that the inning can be one, two, three, they're done, or well, we're gonna be here for 40 minutes in this one quarter of the half of an inning. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I love playing baseball. I don't love watching it as much. Getting out there and playing to this day, like to get out there and play softball, something like that. I absolutely love to do it. And I'll watch it when it gets down into the World Series, the College World Series. But watching it on the regular, it's just I'm not a big enough fan of it to really be into it like I am football.
Gotcha. So when you played football, what was your position or primary position?
Initially, for a long time, it was tight end, and then early in my high school career, I played for a team that I would be lucky in a game to go out for 3 or 4 passes. The rest of the time, they just used me as an inline blocker and somebody who was 6'2" and 190 pounds. I didn't fare so well against defensive ends,
Yeah.
so I made the transition and switched my junior year and started playing defensive end, which I really did end up loving and wish I would have switched sooner.
Yeah, I could imagine that. When I had my stint of high school football, I was definitely not the best wide receiver because I was not the fastest nor the skinny guy. But then when they made me a safety, it was like, okay, I at least can handle this. I can.
Oh yeah.
And then my dad was always a dick, and he was like, Rudy, Rudy. I'm like, fuck you, dad. It is
Yeah,
always good though.
yeah. That safety position is one where you can kind of make up for some of the physical traits with your brain.
Yep. Yeah, and I didn't get the problem was as most places high school football is a political sport as well. So it's like if you don't have the name, if you don't have the last name, not necessarily going to play all the time either, which is always the shitty part.
Yeah.
It's probably bigger. It's probably more of a problem down where you live. Where football. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, my graduating class was like 220, so very small town, and yeah, there was definitely some of that. It's if your parents donated to that booster club, then you were definitely going to see some PT.
Yep. Well, so your graduating class was about the same size as mine then. So we're
Yeah.
relatively the same demographic of population then. So, okay. So I'll go back to baseball. What position did you play in baseball?
Left field.
Okay. Oh, so you were like me picking the daisies in the
Yeah.
when I was a kid. No. That honestly could be. What was the hardest thing about playing that position?
Uh, I would probably say the stress because left field sees a lot of action from your bigger hitters,
Hmm.
and on that one, you can make or break a game with one catch out there. And if you misjudge one of those balls, like I said, you could get 50 of them right in a game, but one of them out there and you mistrack it or misjudge it and miss it and cost your team the game.
Yep, that is absolute. I would agree with that. Yeah, you don't want to be the guy missing the ball or dropping it, or heaven forbid you got it in your glove and then you drop it.
Yeah.
Like I think that's even worse than if you completely miss. Like you're not in the right spot,
Yeah.
and then you get heckled all the way home.
Yeah. And the
But
entire week in practice.
yeah, exactly. Then you're just like, oh great, never gonna hear the end of it. So we'll dive back a little bit to say modern times, not back in the high school days. But I guess what made you decide to join the army?
Being completely honest, I couldn't let my brother outdo me. I had an older brother. He joined the Marine Corps and went down to Paris Island and watched him graduate during my junior year of high school. And I did feel that sense of pride and patriotism. And honestly, like I said, just being competitive, couldn't let my brother outdo me. So I said, I'm going to go do the same. I'm going to go join. And went and talked to the Marine recruiter. And he said, man, he said, I'll give you a $5,000 bonus and I'll have you in boot camp the summer after your senior year of high school. Army recruiter was sitting next to him. He said, I'll give you 10,000. I'll have you in boot camp the summer after your senior year of high school. And then the National Guard recruiter was sitting beside him. He said, I'll give you 20 grand and I'll have you in boot camp this summer. And I was like, that sounds like a deal to me.
Yeah, and then so then you decided to do that, and how often? It's been so long since I've talked to somebody in the reserves. or the National Guard, I should say. But what's the work requirement for that? Is it like one?
So on the commercials, you're here 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year.
Yeah.
And for some units that may be true. I was in the 30th heavy brigade combat team. So we were a very high op tempo combat arms unit, and it was quite a bit more than the 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. Uh, the way we operated, usually that 1 weekend a month was a 3 to 4 day weekend, and then we would also have around 20 days that we would go into FTX, and then usually some other type of, they call it like a super muta, where we would go out for another few weeks. And then our deployment schedule was a little bit higher than most units. But if you're in some of the I guess logistics units that doesn't have quite such a high op tempo, that it may be that actual 1 weekend a month to 2 weeks a year.
Mm. No, excuse me. Okay, so it worked out. What was your MOS, or is it an MOS in the
Yep.
National Guard? Okay, what was that?
So originally, they changed the actual designation for it several times, but I was an automated field artillery tactical data system specialist, basically meaning I was fire direction control for a field artillery unit. The guys on the hill would call me. I would have anywhere from 4 to 8 cannons under my control. I would coordinate the fire and tell them exactly what they needed to put in, sitting here and hitting that target 15 miles away, and then send it down to the gun line.
Oh, okay. So it took some math,
Yeah, it kind of.
kind of.
We've got computers, and I've shot manually as well. The actual math part, it's a lot of tables, just being able to extract data and just being able to look at it and understand where the breakdown is and where you need to plug in different things. And
Gotcha. Now, what was your most memorable moment within the armed forces?
ooh, that's a good question. So honestly, it was probably, and it's gonna sound cliche, but the most memorable moment was in boot camp. It was on family day. I was 17. Like I said, I went to boot camp between my junior and senior year. I'd never left home for any extended amount of time, but then going to boot camp and going through that and standing in that formation on family day, and having my mom come up and find me in that formation, and her jumping up and down and give me a hug. Like I'll never forget the feeling of that hug my mom gave me after not seeing her for close to 3 months.
Yeah, I bet that was a lot big, right?
Yeah.
Especially not leaving home really before on a long trip, kind of by yourself. Well, you were stuck in boot camp for 3 months,
Yeah.
right? Your whole summer was gone, so it was like,
Yep.
but yeah. So that is pretty cool. I mean, you're probably never going to forget that, and it's a memory you're probably going to share with your kids for time to
Yeah.
come. So, so we talked about you were working for another firearms instructor on the side before you started Empirical Concepts.
Yep.
Was it just one of those things that you kind of developed from the military, and you're like, okay, I can help instruct here and there, with this other person?
Yeah, it's something that I wanted to go into. Like I said, I was doing it in the military. Um, I was a marksmanship instructor within there, and I wanted to continue doing that on the outside. Uh, I never really wanted to get into like the concealed carry stuff, but I knew that was en route to becoming an instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a local guy that I'm still. He owns the gunsmithing company that currently sponsors me. We're still friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's the route that his company was taking. It was more of a CWP defensive shooting company, and we got to talking one day, and I'd already got all my certifications from the NRA and from SLED and everything else, and decided to join up. And I went to work from him, and they started offering classes in my market, and I took over the Florence market for Carolina Tactical Training.
Okay. So, when you teach a class or classes, what is your portfolio? I mean, you say you want to cater to the competition shooter, but are you talking like you have a basic class, an advanced class, or you do only privates? Like, how does that work for you?
So right now, what's actually surprised me when I started the company and started running it full time is the private training and coaching side of the house has taken off more so than the open enrollment classes. And I would say that takes up about 80% of my time right now. I do also have open enrollment classes, it's competitive concepts, advanced concepts, and then handgun hard skills. Where competitive concepts, that's a class that's more catered to guys that are just getting in or been shooting it for a little while, but they're like CD class. The main point of that class is mainly teaching them about the mental side of the game. about how to train, how to stage plan, why understanding the whys behind stage planning, and then how to lock it in and actually execute it on the stage. As you'll see, that really is the biggest deficit when it comes to new shooters entering the sport and those CD class guys, just being able to execute an efficient stage plan without stopping in the middle and thinking and looking where to go. And then past that, we have our advanced concepts class where we really start breaking down the shooting and moving part. I always tell the guys before that class, make sure you stretch, eat your Wheaties, bring a sweat towel because we actually get to work in that class. And then the handgun hard skills class. So I've had some competitors come and take that class. I have a lot of civilians jump in that class, and it's mainly about the hard skills of running the handgun fast and accurately, which a majority of people have never really done or been exposed to that haven't been in the competitive shooting space.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's a good line at setup of classes. Which one do you? Which one's your favorite or your most? We'll start with your favorite. Which one's your favorite class to teach?
Advanced concepts,
Okay, and which one do you teach the most?
competitive concepts.
Okay. Yeah, it's just what does that just seem to be more popular for what's around there right now? What the market is telling you to do right now, or
It is that there's a lot of people that aren't quite ready to get into some of the advanced concept stuff, but they
mm-hmm.
want enough to get in to break the ice and learn how to start training, how to start stage planning, and understand the whys and opening their eyes to how some of these M's and GMs actually run these stages and how did they get a 15-second stage when they just ran it in 32 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those simple concepts, like I mean, as you and I both know, those simple concepts compound interest. They're just interest on interest, right? Like about entries and exits. When do you shoot on the move? When do you stand and be static? How do you exit? There's so many things that that we probably take for granted on our skill levels. But somebody's like, oh, that's so big for me right now. And everyone's at their own different level, right?
Well, everybody thinks that shooting at a master and grandmaster level and watching them shoot that it's really complex stuff, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being able to tap into and execute all these really simple small skill sets, but being able to tap in and do it on command every time, and
Oh
just
yeah.
being able to string those together. And that's all it is.
Oh, absolutely, right? You got the really fast, twitchy people like Tom Castro, or you got GM level kind of guys. You got the guys like David Wampler, a GM who's not the best in the best shape, but he can still boogie. Or Tanfo Timmy, for example, the bigger guys.
Yep.
They still can put it together, and I think there's things that I've kind of finally figured out. It's like there's different levels of GM as well.
There.
Like
Yes. Yeah.
and like being able to be like, okay, I can compete with the locally competitive or the regionally competitive GMs, on a local match level. But when it comes to like national, like a area match or nationals, you pull all that different talent in, and then you get that tier, that plus tier, or that the national champion level tier of a GM. It just is. It's also different too because it depends on how. I almost want to say this is like depends on the level of GM, what's around them as well. If there's other GMs or if they're the only GM, because then they get pressured to keep shooting better, right? Like, and then they keep developing their skills. Or there's the GMs who were GMs 10, 15 years ago, and then they just still have the same classification because they're still a GM, but
Yeah.
they're not even regionally competitive, but they're also their lifestyle changes and what draws them to the sport changes. It might be more of a social hobby than a competitive aspect.
Right. So that competition definitely breeds performance.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have those guys, and a lot of times that's what you'll find about the more populated centers in the shooting sports is that they have more of a talent pool there, and they all kind of push themselves further. And I will say the group of guys I've surrounded myself with has absolutely pushed me to where I'm at over the last 2 or 3 years. That if I hadn't linked up with those guys, started training, started shooting, and competing with those, that I'd probably be still be sitting at a BA class level and being happy being there.
Right. So speaking of that, what clubs do you frequent in the South Carolina section?
Basically, all of them. MCRC, Mid Carolina Rifle Club. I'm the stage coordinator and a stage designer for there. I help run that match. I would say that's my home club, even though it's nearly 2 hours away from me. It's one of the closest matches to me.
Didn't MCRC move though? Didn't they move ranges, or is that a different club?
It's a different goal. You're thinking about Spartanburg, SPSA. They
Okay.
moved from Spartanburg to the Clinton House.
Gotcha. That was the other one. So MCRC,
So MCRC, uh,
Spartanburg.
Spartanburg, SPSA. I'll hit that one. Try to hit that one once or twice a year. That's close to a 3.5, 4 hour drive for me.
Yeah, that is a little rough.
Yep. PGC down in Charleston, their first Saturday. Usually try to hit them up.
Oh, that's Palmetto, isn't it?
Palmetto Gun Club, yes sir.
Let's see. Then you got Belton.
Belton, I try to go up there a few times a year. That's where I would say the heaviest heat is in the state. Tyler Meisenheimer's up there, Ryan Flowers, Matt Knight's a regular up there. You got quite a few up there that can sling it. So I got to go up there and run with them at least a couple times a year, despite it being 7 hours of driving in one day for a local.
Oof. Yeah, that's rough. That's like where you make it like a double. You make it like a 2-day weekend kind of thing. Like Saturday eve afternoon, you leave, you get there, you hang out with some buddies, you stay at a hotel, then you go to the match, then you drive home.
Yeah.
Because I've done that a couple times where it's like you're in the match, you're in the car for 3 hours to go to a local with your buddies, right? You make it the once a year kind of trip, and you're like, all right, we're gonna go, and then you're driving back, and you're like, oh my god, this sucks.
This is a bad idea.
Well, and I'm usually the guy riding. I'm just like, they all make fun of me because I fall asleep. My mom, bless her heart, she's like, if you fall asleep, we'll get there faster. Always said that when I was growing up. So like, even if it's a 20-minute car ride to the next town over to go get groceries, out. So I'm the worst passenger princess because I fall asleep pretty quick. If you don't keep me mentally engaged, even if you do, I've fallen asleep on my buddy. He was talking, have a full conversation, just driving, and I'm sitting there in the passenger seat, conked out. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's okay. He has ridden. I have been able to ride with him since then, so it's not like. But
Yeah. But another one that I would like to give a shout out to is Low Country USPSA. Alan Terrell, who's the new North Carolina State Coordinator, is the match director there. And as proud as I am of MCRC and the stages we put on there, Alan has taken it to another level. They put on 6 field courses and 1 classifier, but the complexity and difficulty of his field courses are things that you will see at nationals, you will see at area matches. The really big stages this past weekend, we had stages where the winning stage time was 29 seconds, 32 seconds. Big stages, complex, very technical stages, but some of the newer shooters, they don't care for it as much, but we've got a bunch of us up there, M's, GMs, and we like to compete and really challenge ourselves, especially coming into majors. Mentioned that to Alan. He took it to heart. He's been putting on some really tough, really good local matches.
right. Well, when you speak to that, right, like that's the hard thing, right? You want to put these. Everyone wants to be the best match or have the best stages, right? The national level stages, but it's also it can be very polarizing for new people, right?
Yeah.
Like, and this is something I'm dealing with is just starting up a match again, being a match director, and I'm looking at I don't design stages. I have and I do, and I ran a major match before where I designed all the stages myself. I know how to stage design. I know how to make stages better. I'm not the most creative when it comes to stage designs. I can throw pretty much the same thing on the ground, like start off and then start tweaking it, but it's not my passion. I've got a guy who likes to design stages like you do for MCRC, right? And he'll send it to me, and I'm like, okay, we need to move this. And one thing he uses Practice Sim. I don't know if you do or if you're using
Yes.
Sketch. And I absolutely hate it. You can probably tell me if I'm wrong. Is there a way to move your head other than like using the scroll device on my mouse?
To move your head?
Like, yeah, so say I'm standing in a position or I'm in one spot, so I can rotate around the stage and kind of look.
Yeah, something's jacked up in your settings. Is I can just use my mouse and it's like moving my head around and looking around.
Maybe I'll keep playing with it because I usually I use the middle mouse, the wheel, and because it kind of like it can clone something, but I try not to click on anything, and it kind of gets me the effect. It's still really annoying though when you're just trying to look at things. It's like, but anywho, like I will tell them to tweak the stage. Like we've got some range restrictions when it comes to like. As much as my new club loves this, they put permanent yard markers in the side berms. And they're not that they're like a foot tall or a foot and a half tall. They're like 2.5 to 3 feet tall. So depending on the angle of the target and how you're shooting around it, you could be hitting those. And I'm like, I told the guy who made them, who was the president of the club, I'm like, we're going to do our best not to hit these, but these are way too tall for what we do. Like we use the side berms. We don't just shoot down a lane. Like,
Yeah.
And they're like, but that makes the range nice. I'm like, then be prepared to start replacing them.
Just go ahead and factor that into your costs. It's
Yeah, exactly.
we're
Well,
gonna hit them.
well, and I was like, man, I didn't want to hit any on the first match, and I was really worried about it. And we didn't think about this one position. You know, the more advanced guys at our first match. So we taught a match. We did like an intro to USPSA class match thing. Take some of our members who wanted to get into the sport. Be like, all right, we're gonna give you some decent stages here that you're gonna have to figure out, and we're gonna teach you how to shoot the sport, right? Safety rules and all that. Some of them took an easier option on one of the stages, and of course, those stray bullets smoked one of the yard mark. I had to message the guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, we kind of hit these. I didn't think about this because they got all the way into the corner of the one stage and they shot like a couple targets, and that was one of the targets. Like, I guess it wasn't intended to be shot there, but could be shot here, and then you get a couple stray ones that I was like, son of a bitch.
Well, that is a tough thing about running a match, and especially being in the match director role, is never underestimate people's ability to innovate and shoot a stage a way it was not intended to be shot,
Yeah.
and have some type of consequence, like shooting your yard markers.
Yeah, so I'm trying to convince them to either cut them down about a foot. Like if they were closer to the ground, it would be no problem, right? You're never gonna have a target that close, or if you really missed that far and you're hitting the bottom of my target stand to shoot the thing, like you got more problems than anything. But anywho, yeah. So I tweak stages. I don't design stages. That's my thing. But I'm looking more from like a rules compliance thing too, or like, okay, this has 18 shots available. Please change this because someone's gonna stand here and shoot 18 shots, and that's not very fun. It might not have been the best plan, but someone's going to, and I'm like, no, we're gonna change that.
Yep.
Now, so are you the only stage designer for MCRC, or do you have other people help collaborating on that?
No, that is one thing I love about MCRC, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's such a popular match. Is we have 3 or 4 different stage designer, and if anybody's been doing it long enough, every stage designer kind of has their way they design stages. From stage to stage, they're going to have a lot of the similar concepts and a way that they like to think about designing stages. So we always have anywhere between 3 and 5 different stage designers on any given month designing stages there. I've taken over as a stage coordinator, so basically I'm managing inventory of props and managing match flow. I'm making sure that we don't have 3 stages in a 6-stage match that are unloaded starts, or all of them are starting with your toes touching mark. We want some diversity. We don't want to make it too gimmicky. We want to be able to match the flow without having any backups on any stages. So what stages we're putting where, and thinking about the reset time and if any squads are going to back up, that's what I'm doing as a stage coordinator.
Right, and honestly, that's one of the biggest things too, right? As a friend of mine, Jared, Step out in Utah says, match flow is the one God you sacrifice everything to.
Yep.
Right, because no one wants. I mean, sure, you could have one match or one stage that backs up, but if it's a whole match and it just compounds and it's every match, people don't come back.
No. Especially during the summer months, man. Nobody wants to be sitting out there in the sun baking on every stage waiting to shoot.
I just don't know how you guys reset all your. Like you go to your state match everywhere in the Area 6. Like every state match is like staff reset. I don't know how you guys shoot locals because like you're all shooting major. No, I'm just busting everybody's balls for. Nothing wrong with staff reset. It just doesn't seem to. It has not caught up here.
So I was actually talking with Dan Click about that a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
They tried out staff reset up in Ohio, and they said people were not fans. They did not enjoy it. And so somebody from Area 6 down here, where all of our majors are staff reset, I love it. Like I really did not like going initially out of the area and shooting other matches that were competitor reset. It just wasn't the same experience. As a shooter, I love the staff reset. It really lets you focus on your game and your performance and not have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, but then I'll also say this too. It's like it'd be a little awkward, right? John Royer keeps asking me to come down to shoot the Carolina Classic every year. It's great because it's around my birthday, but it's not great because it is around my birthday, and your family's like, well, we want to see you on your birthday. I'm like, but I'd rather go shoot 10 hours away. but it's just hard. Like, there is different mindsets though too when it comes to the matches, right? Like sometimes you have a faster, simpler stage, and it works because you can throw the staff at it and they can reset it really quick and keep the stage going. Like South Carolina, it's crazy. 10 stages in a half day?
Yep.
And I mean, it's insane. Like, but there is also differences in like our staff packages between like different areas too. Like, and most of your staff probably live within an hour of the major match?
Usually within 2 or 3 hours. for the most part. We have some people from out of state. I mean, some of our core staff this year was driving in from Florida. They were there the entire week, drove in from Florida, and they helped build and set up the stages during the week, and then worked it all weekend.
Well, Tom Castro's crazy, so I mean that's his own fault.
Yeah.
No, he's a good buddy, but yeah, no, yeah, that's how it's. I don't know. You guys had what? How many staff for South Carolina this year?
Around 60.
Okay.
65.
And so what that means on average, you had every stage had 6, about 5 or 6.
But yeah, between 4 and 5. Bigger stages, we would plus them up, but then we had other people. Belton, they have 2 split areas, so you had a big distance between the 2 groups of stages. So we had golf cart shuttles, so we had shuttle drivers, and then between the quartermaster and everybody else working, we had a few other positions to fill.
Yep. Oh yeah, those people are definitely needed. Those are some of the harder jobs. Like for myself, like in a couple weeks or after, like a week after this records. So this goes live on Monday. I leave that next day, Tuesday, to go down to Ohio for the Buckeye Blast. I do stats. Like there's a lot of pre-work on that. Like stats might be the cushy job at the match or one of the cushy jobs if everything goes right. if things do not go right, stats is a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also being the mean guy saying, hey, you haven't renewed your membership. You kind of need to do that to shoot a level 2. And then no one responds to your emails. But besides the point, those staff auxiliary positions are super needed, like your staff, your quartermaster, your Mr. Fix-Its, your range masters. Like matches couldn't happen. You guys had what? Just Gary McConnell this year as a range master?
We had Gary McConnell and Eric Evans.
What the heck? Was Daisy at least there to keep her dad in line? Or
No.
Oh no, she's a hoot too though. No, the Evanses are good. They're good people, but I only get to see Eric like once this year. It's kind of like a bummer. But so what made you decide to put your hat in the ring or volunteer to be the South Carolina section coordinator?
I guess a little bit of self-hatred. But no, Todd's done a great job. He's been doing it for several years, and we all kind of knew that Todd wasn't going to keep it up for a long time. It's a thankless job that requires a lot of him. We knew at some point he was stepping out. And when he announced it, we kind of looked around. I looked at it, and I said, for me to continue to give back to this sport, I based a career around it. I love this sport. Somebody needs to step up. I'm somebody who has the availability and the ability to do this job. Pretty level-headed, even-keeled. I think I like to make decisions as for the best of the group, not on an ego basis. And after talking with a few good buddies of mine, decided to throw my name in the hat for it.
Yeah, well, that's good. And I mean, yes, there's the people who they do it for the love of the sport. They take care of a lot of things that way, which is remarkable. I mean, we need more people who are willing to sacrifice their time and volunteer for this kind of stuff. But as you said, everyone could see the writing on the wall. Todd was getting done with it. A lot of life changes in his life too, and eventually you got to step away from that kind of stuff. But how was it kind of getting thrown to the wolves and helping with the section match then?
So I've worked majors before, so I kind of knew what to expect while the match was actually running and working. But going there the week before and setting up and learning the amount of thought process and work that goes in before the match is actually running, that was huge. I will say it makes for a very long week. You're out there for long days before the match even starts. There's a lot of sweat equity goes into building good matches, especially at Belton. Belton's a great place to host a large match, but when you're building those stages, every single thing that goes in the ground has to be dug in 3 to 4 inches down into rock and gravel and put in. But it really was a great experience. I kind of got to float around, work with everybody, see every person's job in depth. And actually, a Sunday we had one of our staff get injured on one of our larger stages, and I actually had to jump in and plug that spot and ran shooters all day on Sunday.
Well, there you go. That's what you got to do, right? You got to make sure the match still works. So it's unfortunate that person got injured, but able to make up for it in the long run. And it definitely is an interesting aspect to, going from stage design to then being, hey, you're going to help run this match, right? You're going to learn all these things. You're going to build all this stuff. Brain fart, but it's okay because I can bounce back from this. When, you've done this. You helped run this match. Are there things that you want to do differently than what Todd did when it comes to the 2026 area section match?
Not anything massively, no, I don't. That The South Carolina match, I think, is pretty well regarded. We put on one of the better state matches. We had this year had people coming in from Wyoming and Illinois, Florida, and Alabama that I think Todd's kind of perfected the process around here. So I want to continue that trend where we have a good reputation that this is what a major match should be. When you come, you should be able to come shoot 10 stages in 4 hours, that you shouldn't have to worry about resetting, that the stages are going to be good quality stages. Not You're not going to have half the stages be hoser and half of them be memory stages, that you got a really good mix of stages that are going to challenge you while also including the fun factor.
Absolutely, yeah. You definitely want the mixes of challenges and good stages, right? And that's the nice thing is that you're able to you're not having to rebuild a match from scratch.
Yep.
You can take the formula and what the groundwork Todd laid, and keep making it successful. Are you planning on keeping it at Belton at this point? Thank you for checking out another episode of Manny Talks Shooting. I greatly appreciate it. And if you could do me a favor, please go patronize our partners when you are available. We have always, as the title sponsor, D2 Custom Guns. We've got Outdoor Dynamics, Make Stuff Better, 2 Alpha Apparel, Range Panda, Laugh and Load, Hunter's HD Gold, and Southern Bobby Q. Now, thank you. Let's get on with this episode.
So I guess I'll announce it here. It hadn't been announced publicly, but yes, next year the South Carolina Sectional Championship will be back at Belton, South Carolina. It will be the third weekend in March. So we will be back there next year. Moving forward after that, those are conversations that still have to happen. But coming into a new role, the first time stepping into running this to running a major match, I wasn't going to go in and try to change the wheel. Belton's a great club. The supplies, the people they have there, the range itself is awesome for hosting a major. So for next year at least, we're definitely going to keep it there and look forward to working with the guys back at Belton.
Right, and it makes sense. Now, Belton is pretty close to a metro area, right? Or is it still kind of out in the boonies?
It's out in the sticks.
Okay. So, but it's still relatively easy to get to,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah.
Because Greenville? Is that the airport? That's the closest airport?
I believe Greenville's the closest airport. You got Spartanburg's not far, Anderson. There's places around it. Now it's not really close to some of the ranges I've been to. You can leave the range and in 5 minutes be at a hotel.
Right.
Belton's not quite like that. They're out there a little bit, but there's still reasonable accommodations within distance.
Gotcha. Right. Yeah. So it makes sense, right? It's not like you're driving an hour to go to a hotel or food, right? But,
right. Well, and another thing is looking at the club itself. Belton really stands up the shooting sports. They're one of the clubs, like I said, you're running a match, it's not always the easiest to get a club to support the shooting sports. But that's something that Belton has done very well for a long time, is support the shooting sports. And the equipment they have there, the bays, and how easy they are to work with, I mean, it makes it a grade A spot to host a major at.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it is. I've been trying to get down there. It also kind of sucks because up here, March is still cold. So, like, practicing outside is, like, miserable. And indoor practice kind of sucks because we're not cool like some people who can use pretty much a whole bay inside to themselves. But it has been on the radar to make it down to Belton for the South Carolina match.
Man, I can't imagine that. Being from the South, living in the South my whole life, shooting down here. I mean, it'll be February and we'll be in shorts and a t-shirt outside shooting. And talk to some of my buddies up north, and they're like, "We still can't shoot for another 2 months up here."
Yeah. Well, in March, we were very lucky in March. We shot the last weekend of March outside. We had an outdoor match at one of our clubs. Best turnout ever. I don't know what it is this year, at least it sounds like from every other podcast I listen to that talks about, the shooting sports. Every area is like more shooters are coming out of the woodworks. Like this local match that I'm shooting this weekend in preps to go to the Buckeye Blast. Usually the average is 35 shooters a match. We have over 70 people signed up. It's like unheard. Like, and there's faces and names you've never read before on the squad list. It's like, where are these people coming from? I mean, I know the sport rotates like every 3 years, but it's still insane. That's like we doubled our size.
It's interesting you bring that up because I was actually just having a conversation yesterday that you look at the last few months around here, and at the local level, every match is 70 to 90 shooters. They're maxing out, capping out every one of them. So the sport is growing, and I love to see it. It's something that I love to see new shooters come into the sport. I like a lot of guys been shooting for a while, and they come shoot their first match and just watch their eyes get really big after shooting their first stage and realizing what it is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's remarkable to see everyone come into the sport and then they get addicted and then they stay and then some of them leave, some of them still stick around, and it's a lot of different things that happen in this sport, and it's good. I like seeing new faces. I'm not the best person to come up to your first match. Yeah, I'll be nice and say hi to you, but I'm it's kind of hard because I'm so focused on my match sometimes too. It just
Yeah.
it's just like I'm not sociable sometimes as I should be when, like on the local squad. Now, if I know you and I can razz you up a little bit, yeah, it's a little different, but not always.
So it's the opposite for me. I love welcoming the new shooters. I'll see them walking around looking lost. I'm the first one to walk up to them and welcome them. And I give the new shooter briefings at all of our matches we have around here. And it's actually one of the reasons you just brought up that I decided to start this competitive shooting side of training. Is because there's a lot of people I've noticed it's kind of cyclic. That new people come in, they'll shoot for a while, they'll get frustrated because they're not getting any better, and then they'll leave. Where is if they just had somebody there to kind of show them the way. Hey, this is how you get better at this. This is how you get more efficient. This is how you start finishing better, and teach them those steps. That they'll stick around for a while longer. And those that do go out and get training and get some of that, you see them. They hang around. They become some of the regulars, and you see them each month.
Mm-hmm.
But at a local level, I have a little bit of a difficult time because it's hard to turn the instructor mode off, and we'll always have some new guys on the squad, and I'm spending too much time talking and teaching them based on how they just shot, or if they're coming up to shoot, and they'll have to remind me that it's my turn to shoot.
Right. Yeah, most people don't want to listen to me cough, but it's all good. But yeah, and see, and I've thought about doing like we did that intro class, and I wasn't the best one. I actually had to bring one of my buddies in, who's another match director at another place. I'm like, hey, you've been around the sport for 20 years, like you're the guy to kind of like talk to these people, and you're better at seeing these things that I as a shooter, I'm like I know how to do things myself. I'm not the best at conveying things. My wife hates it because like I just tell her just do the thing, and she's like, well, how do I do the? I don't know. I just do the thing. Like I'm like the guy, unconscious competent person who's like, well, I can shoot the targets really fast, really accurately. I'm like, I can run and shoot and move. I mean, it's just so many different things, but yeah, I'm not the best teacher.
Well, and that brings up a good point. A lot of people, when we're talking about instructors, that they think that all the time that the best shooters are the best instructors, and that's not always the case. There's some really some world class shooters that are really great at it, but they're not great at giving that information to other people and getting it across to them. And there's some people out there who aren't really great competitors, but they've just got a knack for transferring that knowledge from themselves into other people and putting it in a way that's understandable and can be received by different types of people that have different mindsets and that understand information differently.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just are cut out to be instructors, and some people are cut out to be just great shooters, and some can do both.
Yeah, some people can do both. It's as they say, those who can't do teach. Well, this is not always true, but I like this quote: "Those who can't do teach. Those who can't teach gym." School of Rock,
Yeah.
Jack Black, School of Rock.
Yep.
Great movie. If you people are too young and you don't know what the School of Rock is, you need to go watch it because you're missing out.
Missing out on anything with Jack Black, you're missing out.
I don't know. I mean, I have not seen the Minecraft movie. People say it's pretty good, but I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't either.
It's okay. It just came out, so you have some grace period on that one. What? So that's better.
I'll pass.
What's your favorite Jack Black movie then?
It's got to be The Pick of Destiny.
See, all right. See, I knew you were good people, right?
It's got to be. I mean,
yeah. That growing up in a very Christian home, that movie was very odd to see when I was older. I was just like, my mom would never let me watch anything in her house like that. I'm just like, it's okay. You'll be fine. You don't know it. You don't need to know about this good movie.
You got to rock with the Tanakh, man.
Yeah. And what's funny is like you think about something and then Facebook throws a reel at you that is it. It's like the one where he and Kyle Gass, he's jamming and he's just singing. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's great, but how did you know I wanted to watch this right now? I haven't even thought about this until you showed this to me. I had a whole
day planned, and now I've got to go sit down and watch it.
Exactly. But great. That's a great movie. What else was another good movie? I liked him as Bowser and Mario, but that's just me because I am a Super Nintendo. I'm like a Nintendo kid back in the day. So, Save Princess Peach. Really, she did not want to be saved. She ran away from you, Mario.
Yeah, she
That's why
did
she was hanging
intentionally.
out with. Yeah, she was hanging out with Bowser for a reason. She wanted to be with him. She was in love with Bowser at the end. But no, side tangent. But that's pretty interesting. Lord have mercy. So back to the teaching thing, right? Like not everyone can teach. But you've been doing it. Has the business been going successfully for you then?
Yeah, it has. First year in, as with any business, it's a little rough. You're kind of building your name, building your brand. Last year's been really good, actually. It's something I find enjoyment in. I love getting out there, even if I'm not firing a single round myself, but just watching the guys come out and helping them connect the dots and watching them put it together and click and then them going to matches and actually starting to lay down good runs. We have a group chat on Instagram of all the alumni from the course that have been in it, and I love that chat where the guys are in there and well, there's a lot of joking and trash talking goes on in there, but they're also posting what they're doing in training, how they're doing at matches, and to just watch them grow week over week is something that I really do love to see. Something that brings me a lot of personal fulfillment is watching those guys go out there and just get after it and get addicted to the process of training and starting to win matches and win trophies and doing things like that. It's 100% them that's going out and doing it, but just being able to watch them, that's all the reward I need from it right there.
Yeah, and that's the good signing of a good coach or a good instructor, right? You want to see your guys be more successful and have them grow and feed off their success, right?
Yep.
But speaking of success, you guys ran the South Carolina match pretty successfully. What other majors are you planning on shooting this year?
So I'll be at the Georgia Peach this weekend. Uh, I will be at the Southeastern Handgun Classic that Cody's putting on up in Tennessee. It's for law enforcement to come out and run their duty here. It's kind of a major. That one I'm looking forward to. We'll be at Kentucky for the Bluegrass. Obviously, I'll be at the Carolina Classic. I'll be at Area 6, Factory Gun Nats, Race Gun Nats, and the Florida section at the end of the year.
Oh, dang, you got a lot. So, are you just gonna run your carry optics gun, unlimited optics for race gun?
As of right now, that's the plan. That's
There
the
you go.
plan.
Well, I will actually see you then at Kentucky, and
Yeah.
I'll be working that match. I go down there. That's my limit. 6 hour limit in the car one day. That's my limit, and that's to Kentucky from where I live. So I tell Leif I will help him out, and I always work a stage or whatever he asks me to do there. So I always enjoy that match. That match is always hotter than blazes, though. So
I've been wanting to make it up there for the last couple of years and finally decided to throw it on the schedule this year.
oh, it's definitely if you go to it, it's one of those matches that you definitely don't want to miss. It's always sold out. It sells out pretty quick. But it's definitely a good technical match for a lot. It's a very technical match, but it's worth it. But definitely prehydrate and keep yourself out of the sun as much as possible
Oh, yeah.
because by the end of it, we were tearing down, and I swear to God, like all of us were ready, we conked out from like heat stroke. It was just like, we're done.
Yeah.
Well, and even like, I've got my bougie Milwaukee job site fan with a battery in it. I'm just like sitting behind it when I don't have to do anything under the shade, and it's like it's still hot as shit. And the worst part is when you're on the stage working it, there's no shade at all, and you're just baking the whole time. And I'm like, Lord have mercy on my soul.
Yep.
But why did I go to this course? No, I want to go to this year's match. Silly goose. Yeah, because this match is full out, and it's always it's the nice thing is it's in the beginning of June, so it's still kind of the beginning of the year for the season, but it's also not. It still has time to people to train up for.
It kind of worked out perfect this year. The reason why myself and he's a teammate of mine for NC Shooters. Daniel, he's a close friend of mine. We always had all the majors together, but we looked, and it's a week or two before Factory Gun Nat, so we figured it'd be good to go up there. We'd finally actually get to go shoot it. We've been wanting to the last couple of years, and then a good tune-up, warm-up for Nats following it.
And that's what there's 2 weeks between those matches, correct? Or is it
I
just
believe
one?
so. I believe it's two.
Okay, so you get to go home and then go back to Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah. That 10-hour drive, it never gets old.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah,
Eventually, hey, at least you get to shoot factory gun, race gun nats the next year in limited optics at Cardinal again. So it just works. Silly Ohio.
Yeah, we made that trip up there 3 times last year for Area 5, Area 8, and then Carry Optic Nats last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, nope. You guys have, it looks like you have a good squad. You got my buddy Chris Cole's on your squad for Bluegrass. He's from Alabama. Alabama. Well, really, originally from Michigan, transplanted to Chicagoland, and then he went down south. So he's still crazy. But no, you guys looks like you got a good squad for squad 210.
Yep. And my buddy Wes Carson, he travels a lot from work, and he'll pop in here and there. And I was happy to see him pop onto the squad for the Bluegrass.
Yeah, like I said, it's always a good match. You definitely, people don't want to miss this match. It's always a good match, and it's good to see, especially. And then if you shoot it on Saturday, guess what? You drive home Sunday, and then you're golden,
Yep.
right? You know, it's not like, oh, I gotta rush home on Sunday and then be miserable on Monday. But you work for yourself, so it kind of washes out. You're
Yeah.
like, I could take a day off.
Usually Monday is my weekend day. That's the day I take off.
Yeah, there you go.
So it
So
works out great for majors.
yeah, just you build it into the schedule and be like, I'm coming home. I'm just gonna do nothing on a Monday.
Yep.
But speaking of that, do people mostly just like if they want a private, is it during the week or is it mostly during the weekend?
It's a healthy mix. I have quite a few people that want to get together during the week. That have the flexibility, different entrepreneurs, some that are retired, and then usually Sundays. I usually hit matches on most Saturdays. Then Sundays I'll rack out pretty heavy.
Gotcha. Yeah, and whatever works, right? Like, but for being in the Bible Belt, I thought doing any shooting thing on Sunday was a faux pas.
Oh no, no, no. We got out there. Anytime's a good time to shoot guns in the South.
Yeah, except just shoot them after church. Go to church first, and then
Yeah,
just shoot
yeah.
guns. But I mean, up here, like most of our matches that everybody goes to are Sunday matches because we accommodate the people who work on Saturdays. So for the most part, all of our big good matches, like our local matches, are on Sundays. But it also helps for setup because we can set up the day before the match.
Right.
So speaking of that, like we didn't talk about it a little bit, but MCRC, when do they set up?
We set up the day before. So
Okay.
we have the Cooper Pistol Bays, Jeff Cooper Pistol Bays. That's where all their matches are held. So we all come down Friday morning, build everything in the summer months, try to get it built before it gets too hot during the day. And then the second half of the day, we have our staff will get our targets painted and get target packs and everything else together from inside the office. But yeah, we always go down there Friday and set up. I know I have heard that a lot of other places they set up the day of the match, and to me that concept is just wild.
You either like there's two clubs that try to do it here. I think actually only one of them now because I think the other club finally figured out that it did either the stages were crap because they're super simple so people who couldn't build a stage could set it up and always felt like you're rushing. And then the other place actually, which is so odd, they go there the day before, get all the props out, set them on the bays, and then have people show up like 2 hours before everybody else is supposed to actually be there to set up, and then they build it. So it's like, why don't you just do this on Saturday, like, or the day before? Like, why tell people they need to be there to set up when they show up to at the appropriate setup time, and not have to do anything? Like, I could have stayed in bed for another hour.
Yeah. For me, I look at that and it looks like that would be an easy way to have holes in stages or for something to be missed. Because when we set up the day before, usually you'll have the match director as well as 5 or 6 or 7 other people walking the stage and looking at it to try to find any holes, try to find any discrepancies or something that could be broken in the stage.
Oh yeah, yeah, and tweaking stages, and it's like, oh, okay, this target's supposed to go here, but I don't like how this looks, so let's move this. Let's add a barrel.
Yeah.
There's, I don't like feeling it's already a rush in the morning anyway because we'll hang targets the morning of like
Yeah. So
any club. It's like because no one wants to leave targets out to get all dewy. Or the weird part is somebody probably I've seen it where members of clubs will come and shoot the stages and shoot the target. Like if you put the targets up, they will shoot them, and I'm like. Did you guys? You didn't set this up. Why the heck did you
No.
shoot this after we left? Like, at least been a nice guy and pace the target or something.
Yeah.
Really. But I've also seen it where members of ranges will staple targets to the walls. They'll put a wall up, staple it to the wall, and shoot the wall.
Somebody actually did that at the South Carolina sectional this year. That we left and came back the next day. And like we're working really hard. We paint every wall, every surface, chloroplast on any tight shots. And we come back to one of the back stages one day, and some club member had come and hung a target on a wall and shot it, and had shot holes all in the wall, the chloroplast, the side of the wall, and everything.
So did you guys just pull the wall and replace it?
Yeah, we just fixed it.
Yeah.
We were able to fix it.
Yeah. No, but yeah, that's probably one thing you don't have to deal with at MCRC when you guys build stages is you don't have to dig into the clay to get you don't have to
No,
dig under the rock.
no, you just sit it where it's at. You can slide around, drop a couple nails, and you're good to go.
That has been the biggest revelation of stage building is that the rotary hammers.
Yes,
Like
yes.
it was funny. I had our president came out and helped me set up for our first local match at this new the training match at the new range, and he brought his little plastic little mallet like you'd put in for tent stakes, and I'm like,
No.
no, hold on, let me turn around and get my tool bag out, and was like, done, moving on.
Yeah,
And he's like,
I gained a healthy respect for those things because we've always had them. When we had it at setup, we've always had them there. And I wanted to do a video once where I set up the GoPro and put it in time lapse and did a time lapse video of me building an entire stage. And I was like, I'll just drive in all these nails by hand. And I was trying to rush because I didn't want the video to get too long. But after going through a pretty large field course and hammering down every nail and every fault line and the walls, I was like, yeah, give me my hammer back. The hammer can go back where it come from.
yeah, exactly. And my buddy Corey Shield, he with Shield Manufacturing, he actually makes a really long bit, so you don't have to. You can just kind of do it standing up. I don't have one of those bits yet. I still have the Shooting Sports Innovations bit, which has not failed me yet, even though the new ones now are just metal. They're not 3D. They're not SLS printed. You know, the sacrificial part's not SLS printed anymore, which is good. Little bit longevity, but yeah, the not bending over part's even better too, though.
Yep.
But yeah, whenever somebody figured that out, it was like, why are we still hammering things?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I tell my guys. Like, one thing that I'm working on is I'm building up the guys to replace me. Not that I'm going to walk away from them anytime soon, but it's one of those things like I'm here to teach you. So the day is if I can't show up and I'm out of commission, the matches still can go on.
Well, that's something I think we definitely need. That's a message we need to continually put out. Is that there's a lot of people that enjoy shooting USPSA, but they don't realize the work that it takes to build matches. So every time I get a chance, every time I get a podium, I ask people, "Hey, come out. If you have a local match that you enjoy shooting, come out at least a couple of times a year. Help set up. Even if you don't know what you're doing, like you can come out there and help." And that's really what helped drive me further deep into sport is when I come out to start helping with setup. And then I asked if I could design a stage and got into stage design and found out I loved that and got into stage coordinating. It's a process, and I've watched others go through the same, helping at their local clubs. It's a big help, and it helps that club continue on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And the longer you can make that club last and prevent burnout, I mean, that's the key, right? Like, we enjoy shooting the sport, we enjoy seeing our friends and shooting with our friends, but inevitably someone's got to put them. If you build it, they will come, kind of thing. And as long as someone's there to build it, I mean, they can still happen. And
Yep.
but it also depends on having the right people too. You got to have the right people in the right places doing that stuff instead of just letting it die or getting complacent with it too, right? Like
Yep.
if you can have an off month on off stages or an off match, but you can't continue that because then your customer base says, "Nope, I'm good."
Right.
But yeah. So, we talked about the train company, we talked about South Carolina. I've got a couple more questions before we hit the end, but what are your goals for 2025?
2025 will be to hit Grandmaster this year. It's not something I've really pushed for in the past because I didn't feel like I was shooting at that level. Typically last year, all the majors, I was between 85 and 90%, and I felt like I would be a paper GM if I wasn't going to majors and shooting a GM score. But this year, I think I want to cross that hurdle, hit GM. I want to add a couple of more trophies back here behind me. Got quite a few majors we're hitting this year. So while I'm still M class, I want to go lock up the M class win and continue to grow the company, continue to get people coming into the sport. And I've started working quite a bit more with law enforcement agencies this year. So I want to continue to expand that, helping change the mindset around cops shooting guns and how it's supposed to be done.
Right. And just getting them out shooting, on their own dime and money and time, right? Because, their agency probably isn't going to provide them with ammo or enough time to go train and get adequate, education on their own. So,
well, a lot of them, especially the ones on the SWAT teams, the entry teams, things like that, surprisingly, the agencies will provide them quite a bit of ammo and training time for it, but a lot of them don't take it up. And when they do, there's been a culture problem within law enforcement about slow is smooth is fast. Just slow down and get your hits. When it's you go back and you watch the actual footage of what happens in law enforcement involved shootings, and nothing ever happens where you're going perfectly to the wall and breaking the perfect shot. It's they need to learn to start pushing the speed and acceptable levels of accuracy at that speed. Uh, and I'm seeing that change happen. That change is actively happening. It's slow, but the current culture that's in there and the thought process around officers' marksmanship has been there for many a decade. So it's not something that's going to happen overnight. But I'm super excited to see so many law enforcement officers out at matches, and then especially the match that Cody's running up there for the Southeastern Handgun Classic next month. There's a bunch of dudes that wear the badge that's coming out there to shoot that match.
That's awesome. And yeah, and that's great to see the community grow and giving those cops a place to shoot and get better with themselves in a match based setting. So that's really cool to see. So Ryan, we talked a little bit about you talked a little bit about some partners, but this is the part of the show where I let you kind of fully blow that up and pimp them out. So go right ahead.
First off, I've got to mention my ammo sponsor. Jeff Wallace, he runs NC Shooter Supplies, has been one of the best partners that you could find to work with. I've been shooting his stuff for the last 5 years since I got started. I found it. Uh, it's some of the highest quality match ammo. He guarantees his product. Uh, the price point, he only uses the highest quality components. He uses Vita Verde powder, CCI primers, and blue bullets. And I've never seen another ammo company as responsive as he is to his customer base. If somebody has an issue, something that's going on, call him, and you're not going to get some standard email reply back. You're going to get a phone call, and he'll sit on the phone with you for an hour and talk through and help find a solution to the problem. If you guys want to go and order some, he's got 125 grain, 135 grain, 147 grain, and 9 mil. If you force him to, he'll also load you some 40 caliber. But across all the majors last year, I had less than a 2-point deviation in my power factor across from the south all the way up to the north. If you decide to order some, code Ryan88, they'll save you some money at checkout. Also partnered with Amex Guns out of Columbia, South Carolina. They do all my Cerakote work. Any stuff that goes over my head when it comes to working on the gun. They've been doing business for the last 20 or 30 years. Definitely hit them up if you want some really dope powder coat or Cerakote for your guns. They're doing some great stuff with that. My buddy Ortiz, Rendezvous with Destiny. He's got some great merch, does some great photography work, puts on some great matches. Definitely hit him up. He's all over Instagram, Facebook as well. Hunters HD Gold's been supporting me. All my students that come to my class gets certificates for Hunters HD Gold. Brian's been an awesome partner, got a partner with. And Dietrich over at US Rifle Works has been an awesome partner for me as well.
That is a lot of partners, and that's good to see that you're partnering up with these good companies and everyone. It's a nice, good relationship there. So I guess I have one more thing is if people want to get a hold of you, they want to take a training class, they want to book some privates, they want to just talk to you, what's the best place and avenue for them to do that at?
You can reach out to me via my website. It's ectraining.net, or you can find me on Instagram at empirical_training_concepts. I was also doing some YouTube stuff last year if you want to go reach out and do that. And that's another thing we were talking about earlier, just being too busy to keep up with, but we'll start popping some stuff back on there for you guys eventually.
Gotcha. Yeah, exactly. It's finding the time and making it happen, whatever project it is, right? So, yeah. Ryan, man, dude, thank you for coming on and hanging out with me and chit-chatting on this awesome podcast of Manny Talks Shooting. I greatly appreciate you hanging out with me and having a good conversation.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. And to the listeners, as I say on every episode, get out and do the things. I'm going to see you on the next one.